I'm Kendall Ratliff. I believe that you can change your life by trying one thing at a time. You can learn more at my website, tryonething.co, or by tuning in to the Help NSFW podcast.
And I'm Johnny Fairplay, reality TV, survivor. And throughout my adventures, I've met a lot of interesting and motivating characters.
Johnny and I made this podcast because we want you to unlock your full fucking potential. So whether you want to get a little more badass or a lot more badass, strap in. Join us here each week. It's Help NSFW. Yay. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm Johnny. That's Kendall. And of course, we are joined by the awesome Kelly Vandenberg.
Hi.
Some of you may know her as Roxy Scarmichael, the toughest of the roller derby vets here on planet Earth. Kelly.
Yes.
I love you.
It's me. I love you too.
It's been too long.
I know.
This is a companion piece to last week's podcast.
Yeah.
We had Lex, who is Kelly's husband, who some of you may know from Survivor, but I don't think we said the word Survivor the entire fucking podcast last time, which was great.
Yeah, he's a little bit more than Survivor to me now.
Yeah. But we wanted to, like, I've known you guys for years now, and I think that I think it's obvious you guys complete one another, but I feel that we needed to have you to complete the story because you are such a huge part of Lex's life as he is to yours.
Yeah, Mary says that.
and your story is just as incredible, if not more incredible. Sorry, Lex.
Yeah.
Well, I've gone through many things in my life, so ask me.
I was telling Kelly before we started, I'm so excited to talk to her because we share something in common. We have autism spectrum in our family. My oldest brother has autism spectrum and Kelly's oldest son does. And I think we share a little bit similar history in misdiagnosis and struggling to find the answer. So I'm so excited to talk to you about that. And then reading some other stuff about you that I can't wait to ask about. But let's start with autism because Lex mentioned that I think you got some answers you didn't like early on in your son's journey, and you were like, "Fucking no, hang on."
Exactly. They said autistic and retarded, like it was a package deal.
Back when that word was medical,
he is not retarded. I'll show you. And I just did mad research and I figured out he was probably more Asperger-y than, but they called it different. It was pervasive development delay. That's what it was called.
Okay.
And then later on, it turned into Asperger's, and then now it's, just on the spectrum. And I had to learn like a whole new language and an ability to teach him things that I would probably just learn naturally, but he needed me to speak his language to explain it to him. Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally does. God, there's so much to go into here. Just you mentioning those acronyms. I have my brother's consent to say that he's on the spectrum, and I asked him, "Is it okay if I say that?" And then I said, "I don't even know how I'm supposed to say it anymore because we used to just say Asperger's in my family." And he was like, "I think they call it autism spectrum disorder now, but they always change the phrases. So like, I don't know, call it whatever you want." Because he just has this like cool nonplussed way of describing things. So for now, it's autism spectrum.
Right.
Maybe the phrases will change again.
Yes. So, I mean, what do you want to know my story? Being a mom raising him, or
I got more. This is more personal to me than you. So. Going back to the doctors, and I think it is very hard to disagree with a doctor. I don't know that most people find it to be an option. They know more than us a lot of times,
especially
right?
Stanford.
So is Stanford doctors. So like the really smart ones. So what was it that made you think I don't agree with them? And how did you even believe that? That's hard. That was big.
Oh, it was hard. It was a hard ride home, but we went to Standford. And it was nap time for Corbin. He sat and observed him for like 20 minutes, and he was all eggy. And didn't want to do the things they asked him to do. And then that was it. I got this big diagnosis right after that. And I'm like, that's not him, like on any other day, just acting like that because he's tired and whatever. So I didn't believe it. All this stuff, I learned a lot about autism and that spectrum because when you first hear about it, you think of like Rain Man, right? Like on the other side. And he wasn't like that. So then I noticed the patterns. Once I learned more about it, like he would stack trains, like all had to be in a straight order. Did your brother do that? Like,
he's 10 years older than me, so I don't know what he did when he was a kid.
How old is he?
I'm 34, so he's 44.
44. So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Did he ever date, and does he have friends?
He does. He's smoking me in both categories. He and his girlfriend have been together for over 10 years. They live in different towns, so they take different transportation to see each other. Yeah, God, he's doing really well in long-term relationships. I could learn something. And a lot of his friends he met through the Richmond Autism or the Autism Society of Virginia. Some official organization had a weekly support group, and a lot of his friends are from that support group, and so they're all on the spectrum. And like he'll have an annual what's the big football game that people get excited?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl.
Wow, sports ball. She's a big fan of sports
ball.
ball.
I love all the sports balls, especially the ones with the good commercials with the frogs. So yeah, he'll have an annual Super Bowl game, and I think that is a great example of knowing a diagnosis for someone does not tell you all of who they are as a person, because all his friends being in a room, they're all fucking different people.
Yeah.
They happen to be all very loud when they're together, but this asshole is this motherfucker's very loud too.
Yeah.
And like, he's just Johnny. So anyway, yeah, he's friends, dating, doing great.
Well, that's great. Like Corbin is he's antisocial. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He has friends from high school that he messages and stuff, but he doesn't really hang out with anybody. But that's his preferred status, like and it's fun. It was really hard for me because I have a lot of friends and I thought he was missing out on something, but to him it was probably more of a hassle to go out and seek people, to be friends and have that conversation back and forth. So he just chooses to be, with us, which is fine, and just living his life. I know he likes Johnny a lot.
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah, so he can have conversations, usually about history or stuff he really knows about and likes about, but I think it would be hard for him to have a long conversation with somebody else talking about something he's not interested in. Does that make sense?
It totally does.
I just feel like I'm rambling, and so.
Sorry, we have a gnat in here. That's going to be a thing. So when I talk to my brother also really loves history. And so he loves history and just information and knowledge in general, and he reads a ton. So what I love is if I get interested in something new, I can just bring it up to my brother. And he, like I got into Hamilton. It was before a lot of people were talking about Hamilton. So I said, I like this new musical. And he said, well, this has really put Lin-Manuel Miranda on the map. I was like, oh, great. Like, I don't have to prep you for my interests. You're just ready to talk.
Yeah. And I got the history of what actually happened and the whole period piece and how Hamilton was not right. Like it was not accurate in the history. So.
See, then you don't have to read those articles yourself and you can just then have the cocktail conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's great about it is so easy and typical to look at anything like autism, Asperger's autism spectrum from the like the deficit point of view, and looking at it from the assets point of view.
It's
interesting conversations.
It's honest, pure honesty.
I fucking like that.
So,
I remember my brother, he started going to a church a couple of years ago that he really likes. And I remember I remember talking about him with church, about church and liturgy with him. And one of the things he said he didn't quite like about church was how touchy it was. And
Right.
that just fucking gave me permission to acknowledge that I do not like shaking hands with people at church. I'm really good with everyone sitting and looking ahead. I
Right.
don't need us to like have a break where we get up in each other's space. And it's like he's just being honest about something that bothers a lot of us and we don't give ourselves permission to be honest about.
Like one of the classic things in my experience with Corbin is he'd be mad because his brother took something away from him, right? And then he would hit him. And then you do the whole mother thing. Well, you need to say you're sorry for hitting him. That's not the right way to act. And he's all, but I'm not sorry. So what do you do with that? You're like, okay, well, next time, try not to do that. But it's so he's honest.
Yeah.
But I love him. I think he's hilarious.
I bet.
He's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about roller derby.
Yes.
I mean, how, like, for those of you that are on the younger side of our demo, and we're hitting all demos because, I mean, that's how awesome we are. Roller derby at one time was like one of the biggest sports in America. I mean, it was, prime time,
Right.
weekend time slots. I mean, like the T-Birds, Little Ralphie Valadares was a household name at one time. It's nuts. So I mean, we had a small resurgence back in I want to say the late '80s, early '90s with roller games, but and then what was the roller derby movie?
Whip It.
Whip It.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, but throughout all that, we got Roxy Scarmichael laying in some pain.
Hey.
That's
Can
right.
you walk us through how does this begin and tell us about this incredible ride? I mean, because you are a roller derby badass.
Well, thank you. I think I was, but it was right around. There was a TV show called Roller Girls, and I was in my 40s, so early 40s maybe. And I'm watching the show, and I think, God, I would totally love to do that. Now their derby is bank tracked, but I played with flat track. It's different. Yep. So watching that and seeing all of the culture, well, I want to do that. And then I went to Starbucks and I see the sign, Roller Derby wants you. So this woman from Washington was starting up, she was on the Rat City Roller Girls in Seattle, and she wanted to start a league here in Santa Cruz. And so I'm like, oh, well, that looks like fun. Let's see what happens. So my friend and I actually tried to get in, but it was like past the deadline for new recruits, so this is a long story.
That's good time.
So we just started practicing, me and my friend, and like I lost like 30 pounds and I was all muscly and it was awesome. And I felt really good about myself. I felt like I had a new purpose because at that point, my kids were grown, like they were in high school and not really needing my assistance. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I like found myself again. I found Kelly and this new Roxy person. And it was so much fun. And part of the fun when starting a league is just like skating around town, in your skimpy little shorts and putting up flyers or going to bars and just, to spread the word of derby. So it was a couple years skating before we actually played a bout. A bout is a game. So once you join roller derby and you start playing, when you get knocked down on your ass, it's either going to be nope, not for me, or hell yeah, I'm going to get that bitch, and
Okay.
hell yeah.
Walking the road.
So, I played for a few years. I had a lot of injuries because I also had a kidney disease, and that makes your bones brittle. And so my kidneys were failing in that phase. I was going through menopause and playing roller derby. So I broke my ankle off, literally off. And I had to have an ankle replacement, but I had to have 2 of the ankle replacements because the first one didn't work.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I thought they were just really attached.
Yeah, well, mine just broke off.
Whoa.
So,
wow.
And it looks, I have a monster foot, and that took a couple years to recover from. Oh, and right before that, I tore my ACL, and I had to had surgery for that.
Good gracious.
And, it was just like healing and then playing and then getting hurt. And, it was wonderful. Of course, sometimes it was really gossipy and stuff like that. There's the girl, edge, but it was just so fun to play. And you finally figured out, I'm going all over the place, huh? You kind of figure out why, like, I never understood why dudes in football would be all, and, get all beefy with each other. And then when you have that adrenaline, like you just fucking slayed it. I got it. It's like, you're just like, yeah. So I recommend playing roller derby or roller skating to everybody, no matter what your age is, and just try not to fall down. Wear wrist guards so you don't.
That's where I am.
Break your arm.
Well, so do you feel like you found a different part of yourself by doing this?
Oh yeah, I felt like not Lex's wife from Survivor and not Corbin and River's mom. Is all me and all my dedication towards it and to make it successful. We used to have lines around the block to see us play, and it was amazing to see the final fruit of all our hard work and playing games. And then of course it changed from Santa Cruz Roller Girls to Santa Cruz Derby Girls, because then Derby Girls was a nonprofit organization. So before that it was kind of like pay to play. So we raised a bunch of money for all different kind of charities. And
so like kicking ass for a cause.
Exactly. And it was amazing and a big production. And then later on, Derby got a little less of the showy, sexy kind of roller girl, and is now just more like athlete sports, which is fun.
Right.
The costuming and stuff was really fun. But then it just changed over the years, the different rules, because it's pretty basic rules, and then people were finding ways to go around the rules, and it just, I don't think it was meant to be as big as it got.
Yeah. So you seem pretty fearless. You've got this bright pink hair, tattoos. You're playing roller derby, which is, there's a lot of bruising in that sport, and then you're doing it even though you've got a disease that weakens your bones. So you seem fearless. Is that an accurate word for you?
I don't feel like I'm fearless, but once I put my mind to something that I want to do, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Like, I put that in pretty much all of my aspects in life. Like meeting rock bands. I'm really good at getting backstage. Like,
wait, what? How do you do that?
Well, it's harder now that I'm older, but before.
Is this about tits?
Huh?
Is this about tits?
No.
Oh,
about
okay.
Watching and knowing what to say. So you just start walking backstage and you pretend like you're on the phone with, I don't know, David Grohl, right? I was going to bring it around like 3. Is that going to be good? And you pretend he answers you because you're on your cell phone. And you just keep talking and going right past the security guards, and they don't, you just act like you belong there, and then you're there.
I fucking love that. Because there's like a subreddit that I follow that's just like people with clipboards, and it's just people telling stories of what they've gotten away with because they're just holding a clipboard.
Exactly.
And going out with Johnny, like he'll ask for things. We've talked about this. Johnny doesn't mind making an ask, and he doesn't always get yes, but I've decided that part of it for him is he doesn't take a no personally, and so it makes it easier for him to just make big asks. I'm working on developing this skill. So y'all have both got really different orientations towards like well, let me just see if I can make this happen.
I mean,
I think it's very inspirational.
You got to ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Absolutely.
And pretend like you're talking to Dave Grohl on your phone.
Yeah. Like you're
What's the gutsiest thing then that you've gotten away with that you're like, holy shit, they bought it?
Well, there's a stadium. Is it a stadium? No, it's an amphitheater. And it was kind of like there's all different tricks to, like, there's the meet and greet pass, and then there's like blocks. So we thought of it as like a video game. You had to get past these first 2 blocks to get into the real backstage and get on stage and watch. And that was always fun, just to see what I could get away with.
Yeah.
You know? And I almost always landed up getting in the backstage. And
God,
it's just, I don't know. Like, you just act like you belong because they're just people. They're not any better than me.
Great point. One of my goals this summer, for Hot Girl Summer, is to sneak into a conference, which, it's a lot like a rock concert, right? It's not, but
audibly less, but otherwise.
But yeah, I want to see if I can sneak into a conference. So if you can get backstage on like actual concerts, I have no excuse not to try this. And I think I should upgrade it to I should try and sneak into being a speaker at a conference. Why not? Like, see if they take the mic from me.
Do they use lanyards? Like,
yes,
okay.
Most of them. But
get some.
Okay, just to
wear them.
Just and my own lanyard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't make a fake one because they won't. But just make sure you have something on a necklace. And
okay.
Just act like you're supposed to go in the room. Now, if they are collecting you, like if you have to meet one-on-one with somebody to get in, now that's harder because then they're going to ask for proof and you don't really have it. But if it's busy and you just want to just keep walking, you can just keep walking, and that'll be, excuse me. And then if you get past a certain point, you're fine. So just try.
Oh, that just makes sense. The one thing that worries me is dress code, because I went to one conference that I thought the dress code was wear a suit. So that's what I wore. And it turns out the dress code was, I'm going to say, elementary school art teacher.
Oh.
So, but that might just be a thing that I can research. I like research, so that's fine. I'll do my research. I'll get a lanyard and
Let's try it. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get in.
Yeah, and then, I just won't go to a conference, which that's also fine.
There you go. Well, circling back real quick to the roller derby, how'd you come up with the name Roxy Scarmichael?
Well, actually, Lex and his friends figured it out for me. Well, I first wanted to be Annabelle Lecter.
Oh.
Yeah, but there was someone over playing in San Jose, which is over the hill from me. It was Hannah-Belle. And so I couldn't use it because she already registered her name. But she ended up changing it anyway. But then...
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I was just like, oh. And then the second one was Roxy Scarmichael from the movie Roxy Carmichael.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just did it.
Carmichael.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's just badass.
Yeah, and you kind of like become this persona, you know, and people like want your autograph and stuff. And I was just like, all right, so you have to figure out how Roxy would sign,
I'm thinking it's very jagged.
I'm all.
I'm thinking for my conference hopping thing, I'm gonna make a persona because that totally makes sense. Like you created a thing to inhabit, so I'm gonna make a persona for sneaking into conferences. Okay, it's fine. I'll follow up with myself later.
Yeah, I think the clipboard idea is good.
Clipboard strong.
Clipboard.
Clipboard strong.
When I'm storing it, I can clip my lanyard into it, and then my conference crashing gear will all be in one place.
Yeah, there you go.
And your ear. Hold on, your ear. What are those called?
Like an
AirPods, or whatever it is. Hold on, I'm gonna hang up on those people, or it's just gonna go.
Okay.
I'll have you know.
Anyway, so yes.
All right. So
Yes.
we did the roller derby,
Yes.
and we had some injuries because of our kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Fast forward to we need kidneys.
Yeah, that was I have polycystic kidney disease. My mom had it, my grandmother had it. It's hereditary. My kids have it, my brother has it. And it's not uncommon if you want to look it up, polycystic kidney disease. And what happens is your kidneys and your liver and sometimes other parts of your body get cysts on them. And then you get so many cysts that it covers your entire kidney and makes it not work. So you need either dialysis or a transplant. I was lucky enough. I asked, it's really hard to ask, like,
Sure.
hey, so can I have your kidney?
If you're not using it, come on, pony up.
So I put it out there in the world on social media just one time, like the big ask.
Yeah.
And I had more people wanting to be a donor than they'd ever seen.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty amazing. And luckily it was Josh was the first one, and he was my match, perfect match. And he donated my kidney. Josh, I met through kind of Survivor. He noticed that they used to put their favorites, like foods or whatever, like somebody likes Snickers and got them for life. I don't know.
Yeah.
Early
like Scott Yoo-hoo.
Yeah. And Lex does Yoo-hoo. And so this guy
on your CBS.com bio, you list your family. So like 2003, I listed Pabst Blue Ribbon, and so Pabst hit me up. They're just like, "What do you want?"
Right.
And so they sent me, and then like I said, my favorite show was Mr. Show with Bob and David, Bob Odenkirk, who is the lead on Better Call Saul, and my favorite book was Whatever Happened to Mr. Show. I have the autographed copy right over there. Bob Odenkirk and David Cross and Naomi Odenkirk, Bob's wife, sent me an autographed book. It's like, read and learn, asshole. You kill me, goddamn it. And they sent it to CBS, and like it took forever to get it because they were just like, yeah, we have to check everything. Like there, like over 10 people sent feces to CBS. Attention to Johnny Fairplay, because so they're just like, like they get the fact they're like, please don't be shit, please don't be shit, please, and they're like, oh, it's a book,
it's a real thing.
Well, this shit was real.
Well,
but yes, so but Lex listed Yoo-hoo and got a shitload of Yoo-hoo
and these really cool jackets and with our names on them. I mean, Josh went above board. Like he just drove up in this really cool. No, that was a different time. He drove up in this van and just started unloading just all of this Yoo-hoo stuff, like tons of.
So a guy in a van with snacks, but it wasn't a predator this time. It was just a good person that you were destined to have in your life and in your body, it sounds like.
And he, the one that, and we invited him in, and I think he stayed the night. And he's like, "What's up with these creepy people?" But he didn't. We just got along so well, and ever since, well, now we're connected. I have his boy part in me, so
yeah, he's inside you.
So
it's very central.
The big reveal was at
right. Lex was taking me on this tour of the Giants play, and I think it was AT&T Park back then. Anyway, we go. I love the Giants. I love,
San Francisco Giants. For anyone that's listening and not watching, fuck the New York Giants. We're talking about a real Giant team. The
first place team. Right.
And this is baseball, right?
This is baseball of the sports ball variety.
Okay. All right. Yep. That's the one you with your
Yeah, I'm an avid fan. So they take me to the park, and I thought there was going to be a group. Oh, Adobe, where Lex works, is one of their sponsors. So I thought it was all part of this Adobe thing. But nobody else was there. It was just us. And then our friend Kelly Castro had his camera. And I'm like, what's he going to take pictures of? That's so weird. They're not playing. We're just going to an empty place. So they take me around. I see the trophies of all the World Series they won, and just putting it in there. And we go out to the field, which is amazing for me because I've walked around the field, but I've never been able to go to the dugout. And anyway, I look out and I look at the big Jumbotron, and it says, Kelly, I know you're a Giants fan, but you're going to have a Royals kidney.
Oh.
Which is Josh's favorite baseball team. And then I'm all, what? Like, I didn't know he was going to be my donor at that point. And so that's how I found out.
Oh, so you got it on a Jumbotron. That is so cool.
Is that the coolest? I mean, like,
it was so amazing. So amazing. I have a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, like, and so now she has to, because part of her body urges it on. She has to root for Kansas City in addition to San Francisco.
Yeah, I did, and they played here against the A's, and unfortunately they did not win. But if they ever, I hope there's never again a World Series with Kansas City and the Giants, because that's going to be hard.
Yeah, two houses against itself.
Yeah, for your body.
Right.
Well, now I know a trivia fact that Kansas City has a baseball team and that it's called the Royals. So I appreciate that.
There you go. Sports ball.
It's really hard for sports information to stick in my head. So that story's so cool. I think I was reading an article about you that talked about that story. And you said that you were really surprised that your husband got this one over on you because normally your gut tells you when something is off.
Right.
So can you tell us more about this gut instinct that you have? How do you recognize it? How do you know when your gut is telling you something?
You just know. It's kind of like, it's not comparing to Lex's gut on Survivor. That's a whole nother thing.
Huh.
But you just knew. Usually I can look at a present he got me, and I'll know what it is. Like, I just know. I don't know why. It's just weird.
Yeah.
And I'll always know when something's off because I know him so well. He'll be acting weird, and he was fine. But I didn't pick up on it. It was amazing. And I didn't see Josh till the big reveal, and he came running out. And I was in a cast, my leg cast still from my foot. Sure,
that time you lost your ankle, yeah.
My instinct was to get up and run, and I did that and I realized I can't.
Fuck my surgeons. I will run on this cast. Is it hard or what?
Rebel. No, but it was amazing. And even the day we did the transplant, we had a great time,
Oh, sure. I've heard that about transplants. I've heard it's really fun. It's like definitely a great time.
Well, I always look on that side. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it sucked, but it was easy for Josh. I recommend everybody be a donor, at least on their driver's license. And it was so simple. He was better in 2 weeks. It took me quite a bit longer, but he was fine. Like he had a little bit of pain like the first week, and then that was it. So
that's incredible.
Being a kidney donor or any kind of donor isn't as hard as you think it might be.
When we have 2 kidneys, so you can be living to donate Josh is still with us, right?
Yeah. He was on Wheel of Fortune a few weeks ago.
Oh, great. So he can even lift his arm up and stuff. He doesn't spin. No, he does spin on Wheel of Fortune.
You get to
you can spin.
Okay.
You spin your
games are hard for me.
Yeah, the wheel was not kind to Josh, unfortunately.
So that mentality you have of just being positive and seeing the bright side, did you have to grow that in yourself? Did you have to learn how to be that way, or is it more natural?
I think I was always that way because it's just easier, people, just like an example for Lex sitting on the phone for 4 hours, and I knew he was pissed, and I felt bad for the person that was going to answer the phone, and I just kept reminding him, they have a shitty job, and they probably don't get paid as much as they deserve, and it's not their fault, that you're on hold for 4 hours. Just the system of Delta, and just kind of.
It sounds like you have a lot of empathy. Because what you just said about seeing it from the customer service person side, and then even about getting backstage, you said that you try to think about what does the person need to hear. To me, that is just that is empathy. That is like other people orientation. Like you were picking up on or intentionally trying to figure out what other people are experiencing. Do you think
Yeah.
that's accurate to you?
Do I what? What's
Do you
that?
think that's accurate that you're an
Yeah.
empathetic person?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's always better to be kind than to be a dick. You know, it's so easy.
So some of us are learning that the hard way. It's not Kendall, it's me. Guess you're wondering.
I find it hard to be actively kind. I would like to be left alone by myself in my room, and often you have to be kind.
Right.
With,
Well,
like energy.
you're kind to me. You
Aw.
could go, man, you're boring. Like, who cares? You know, you're nice and you ask great questions, and so that's you being kind.
Thanks.
Kind
Yay.
of Johnny. You know,
Kelly
Johnny.
just makes people better.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
Aw.
I don't even want to know what Lex was like before she met Lex.
He'll try to tell you he was like the big owned by none, single guy and tough. He's just a puppy. He was he's so sweet and loving and
My reputation.
So other people see the drummer, and Kelly sees the puppy. I love it.
Well, I saw the drama first.
Oh. Let's not be confused.
But he's just sweet.
Drum those sticks all over the place.
No shirt. Let's go.
Sweat flying.
And then Johnny, you know, he always comes off as this big asshole, you know, on TV. And he's as sweet as can be. At least he's always been to me. So
I'm trying to work again, Kelly. You're killing it. You're killing the stick.
You say it's easier to be kind than to be a dick, but he has capitalized on being a dick pretty well. So it's like,
yeah,
It's difficult being a dick, I assure you.
But if you sit down
Hard to
with
be
him
hard.
and have a conversation, he's a wonderful person.
Wow.
So
Okay, so you're a very kind person. Do you get taken advantage of?
mm-mm.
Well, shit.
I
What are you doing right?
I do not settle for bullshit. You know, there's no time for that. You know, they just
Okay, yeah. There's no time for that. I mean, that makes sense as something that would inform both be kind and you're not going to treat me badly.
Exactly, and it's up to you. You know, if someone shows you who they are the first time you meet them, right? You've heard that, and it's true. You know, if you've heard about this person, you know, being like just a liar or like a really bad friend, and then they're all of a sudden they're being nice to you, you're just like, figure it out. Like, all these people are saying this, it's probably true. But I will always, on the other hand, I'll give someone the benefit of the doubt. But once you fuck me over, you're dead to me.
So you don't have a problem with boundaries.
No.
Yeah. I think that's so important. I think it is very, for people that don't naturally like have that ability to sort, like it seems that you do. I think it can be very hard to balance. Like, well, how can I be kind, but also not enabling people to treat me like shit or take from me?
Well, you act kind, you know, and if someone is not kind back to you,
Ooh.
they're really not worth your time. But every day, if I see somebody, this could fall into that part of what I recommend people should do. You give them a compliment, or like we used to paint rocks. I know everyone does that now, but we used to paint rocks and put them all around the neighborhood. You know, like you're loved or you're awesome, and you know, when someone finds that, they're gonna be stoked. But you also, I guess you have a little bit guarded because of the whole survivor fame part, that I let people into my life that were just survivor fans, and not that that's anything wrong with that. It's, I don't know if every spouse has as much contact with fans as I do.
Okay.
Yeah. You were like survivor royalty. I mean, like if you knew Lex, you knew Kelly. Like, it wasn't like, I mean, you know, like some survivors, you don't know their better half, Lex was on an early season Survivor, and they were doing follow-up specials. Where are they now? And the family was being brought and showcased, and you see Kelly, and it's just a marvel to the eyes. It's like, ooh, I want to meet this person. This person, like, Lex look cool. This person looks just as cool.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like of the Survivor fandom, of all the wives, you're probably number one.
Well, probably not anymore, but at least I just was shocked that people wanted. I didn't know if they were getting me to get to Lex. There's one person that has done that. How I accidentally gave Lex's cell phone number to, because I thought he knew this person, and that wasn't right. I never should have gave the number, or the person shouldn't have pretended that they actually knew him. So that's been kind of a boundary for me, learning lesson. So like I said, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and most people are just fine, but there's a few.
So let's talk about, so you had the kidney transplant, but your timing kind of sucked donkey dick, because soon afterwards the world is introduced to COVID and the quarantine, and you guys have been quarantined up and pretty much still now, right?
Absolutely. People with got kidney transplants and probably other transplants, we all take these medications every day to keep our kidney in our body. We don't want to reject it. So when I got the COVID vaccination, I got both shots, Moderna, what is it called? Moderna, and I did an antibody test about a month after my second shot, or a little longer than a month, and I have no antibodies. It didn't work on me. So, and most kidney patients, our transplant patients, it doesn't work on. So we're back to lockdown again. And it's a drag. It's a drag for Lex, because he has to be a little bit more careful than everybody else. But what else can I do? I get out and I walk, and I've noticed the beautiful flowers that are growing in our neighborhood that I never saw before.
Oh, wow.
Like you get to see things. It's different. Now, I love concerts, and one of my favorite bands, Cracker and Camper Beethoven, are playing, and I'm sad I can't go see them.
She went with me to go see Cracker when you hooked us up with the tickets.
Yeah. Oh, you're the one. Okay, I went. Yes. I rarely say yes to things, but I said yes to that, and I had a great time. So thank you. Got me out of my comfort zone.
They're playing in Virginia Beach. I don't know how far away that is, but
4 hours.
No. Oh, they're playing again.
Yeah.
So what was I saying? Oh, I can't do some of the things I would really want to do, but I will be able to do them at some point. So.
Yeah.
What kind of timetable are you looking? I mean, like, do you have to redo the COVID shot, or what?
It's not going to work for me. I guess there's some things they're working on, but I don't know why I would have to still get it if knowing it didn't work the first time. But there's no, once COVID's over, which I don't think it's ever going to be, I'm going to have to be careful. Right. So, but I guess it's the same for the flu, though. Like, I've had the flu, and I ended up in the hospital. So
gotcha.
I should wear a mask,
And hopefully that's a thing that sticks around. We don't need to be up in each other's faces during flu season, just like we don't need to be touching in church.
Right. Exactly.
In my opinion.
But I will touch you if you have the flu. No.
Do you think so you seem very positive. Again, like your empathy and your kindness, is this a natural setting for you, or something you've had to cultivate?
I think it's just how I've always been.
Do you think that has a role in health? Are you around a lot of other people that have kidney disease or anything else like that? Do you see a difference that mindset and positivity makes?
Well, yes. My mom had it, and when she had it, she was divorced, she was unhappy, and she was super negative at that point, like when I was in high school.
Mm.
And I just didn't want to be like that.
Okay.
It was easier for me to try to make things positive than wallow and get stuck in negativity. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so I can thank my mom for that, I guess. I mean, she was a great person, but she was really sad for a long period of time and sick, really sick. She got a kidney donor from like a motorcycle accident guy. It was her first kidney transplant, and then her second one she got from my Aunt Roz, her sister. So she was pretty sick my whole life. So, and negative. I guess, you can be one way or the other,
Well, then I think you should give yourself credit for positivity truly being something you've cultivated. If you might have already had the seed where you were going to take to positivity very well, but if you saw your mom and were like, I would like a different outcome, that means you made a decision, and that
Yeah.
positivity is in a sense something you lived into. And I think that's great. Good for you.
Yeah, it's hard for me to describe myself and think of myself as this kind of person that you're saying, because it's just who I am. It's not something I try to be. It's just who I am,
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And I can see too and this is me, reading into your story, but if that was so, this disease has been with you your whole life,
Right.
and that's part of of dealing with doctors and medical stuff. So then for you to be like, well, I know my son, and what the doctors are saying about my son isn't right, so I'm going to keep pushing in a different direction. I mean, that totally makes sense. Like you were ready to be Corbin's mom
Oh
and
yeah,
to get him what he needed.
yeah. I mean, it's hard for you to hear it because you think your kids are going to be perfect, and
Mm.
he is. He's
Mhm,
perfect
mhm.
for who he is, but it takes a while when if you're a new parent and you find out that someone's on the spectrum, you think there's something wrong and broke
Mm,
that you can fix, and you can't
mm,
fix. You just have to accept and find out the ways to make his life easier, and
mhm.
also to make your life easier living with someone with autism.
Yeah.
So you do what you have to do.
What's something you wish people knew about autism, or what's something that people get wrong?
Well, I'll tell you, like, have you watched these shows with, like, The Good Doctor, who plays an autistic doctor on TV?
Yeah.
And then there's this other show, Atypical. Okay.
Mm,
So if you watch, he does a great, in The Good Doctor, Sean, he's an okay portrayal of someone on the spectrum, but not really. There's just something he's missing. There's just not quite right. Like they don't nail it.
mm.
But the Atypical show, I think the kid really has it,
Okay.
and
I
it
haven't
makes a
seen that. I should
difference,
add
and
it to
he
my
reacts. It's hard to pinpoint because everyone on the spectrum is totally different, just like you and I.
Yeah, so different.
And some quirks, you get like this big bag of, okay, this I'm gonna have anxiety, or I'm gonna have this or whatever for Corbin, but then this kid over here has a whole other
Yeah.
thing, bag of tools or tricks.
Yeah.
So you can't. What I want to say is just be kind, because you don't know everyone's story. So I know everyone says that, but you don't know.
Right.
Like, you could be having the shittiest day, and if someone goes, "Hey, I really like your hair," it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So I feel I should return the favor to
Mhm.
somebody. So I just started doing that. Like, you just don't know what's going on in someone's lives,
Yeah.
and having an autistic kid isn't the end of the world.
Mm.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do? They're your child.
Mhm.
You just deal with it.
Yeah.
So
I what you were saying about It made me think of one of my brother's friends. He's amazing with audio. Like he can go into a room and he's amazing with acoustics. So he knows like exactly where to set up equipment and the kind of equipment needed. He is also super sensitive to sounds. So going into a big box store, the fluorescent lights, he can hear them and it is too much for him. And what extrapolating it to like what I wish people knew about Asperger's autism is I think so much of in my experience, which is limited and everyone is different, but in my experience, the things that the people that I know with autism spectrum, the things that they need are maybe of a bigger magnitude than what the rest of us need, but it is not different from what the rest of us need. Like we all have days where like I can't even stand the sound of goddamn lights right now. Like I need a warm blanket in a dark room. Like we all have that spot. And so if we made the world better for people with autism spectrum, like goddamn, we would all fucking benefit from it.
Well, I think the whole world is set up for people on this spectrum now, like with texting and communicating this way, where you're in a controlled environment, right? Ooh. It's you can look up anything you need to know. You can watch anything on YouTube you want. Like it's set up for a perfect world. Like Corbin's been training for the pandemic for his whole life. Like he was fine. He was totally fine. So yeah, I mean, everybody has to be in their own controlled environment to feel comfortable, I think.
Right.
So yeah, I think all the tech jobs, all that stuff is like that wasn't there when we were kids or I was a kid. It makes it so much easier to communicate. And actually, like everyone texts now, even if you're in the next room, people text you. It's like you don't have to actually communicate and see someone's face, because it's
great
from, huh?
Yeah, I think it's great.
So I think the world is a better place for autistic kids now than it was 20 years ago.
So maybe parents that are newly facing this, maybe they don't need to like completely freak out.
You don't need to freak out. I mean, you're going to freak out at first, but you can't focus on, oh, poor me, my kid's autistic. And I don't think a lot of parents do that. I think they just get focused and figure it out.
Yeah.
Like Corbin was the first autistic kid to go to he went to his second grade when we moved over to Santa Cruz. He's the first one in the school. So I made a whole binder full of resources for the teacher.
Oh, fuck.
And I gave it to her in the summer. So she set up the classroom appropriately for Corbin, but it's also good for other kids with ADD, kids with whatever learning disabilities, because as we've learned, people don't learn just one way. Right? You may be a little, distracted, or you can be dyslexic, or you can just be not challenged or overly stimulated. There's all different ways to teach a classroom. And she had him for 2 years, and each year was just more natural. She understood Corbin, which is great.
I think that makes so much sense for the classroom. I think the stuff that my brother needs, it is, again, a broken record, but it's just that it's stuff that neurotypical people that we've learned to hide.
Exactly. Well, we've learned these automatic responses, right? When someone says hi, you say hello, or you say, thank you, and please, and all these automatic responses, which is what some people try to force autistic children to learn. But that's just not, then you're just having a robot. They're not really expressing themselves in the way they want. And what was I going with this? I just feel like, I don't know what I was going to say. I totally lost it because I'm old. I just lost what I was going to say. It was something
there should be space. There should be space for people not to not fit a box. That sounds so hokey, but like let's be human together and
Right.
come from things with a perspective of everyone might not have the surface level ways that they respond be the same.
Right. And I think that's, like I said, I think that's true for all children. You know, you can't teach unless you talk, you know, including everyone. And so you might have to say it a different way, you know?
The teachers I know that are great, it's because they start with relationships and seeing, like truly seeing the students in front of them, and then they get to the learning. And I think if
Right.
you can make a space for kids on the spectrum in your classroom, then that's building a muscle that you can use for students that come from a different language or a different culture or background or race than you.
Right.
Same
Exactly.
skill set. In my opinion, it's the same skill set. It's the ability to start with the person in front of you instead of starting with the rules.
Exactly. Ask permission. Don't ask permission. Ask for forgiveness. I'll say it again.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with
So-
Corbin.
So
Love it.
every podcast we like to end on two special things.
Yes.
We have we request a call to action from our guest
Right.
that they put out there, and also let's to give us their favorite charity that we can steer our viewers and listeners towards.
Well, you probably guess what mine's going to be.
No.
Be kind. You know,
Oh, very good one.
give someone
I like the rock. I was ready to paint a rock, Kelly.
You should. You should. And the thing is be kind without expecting something back.
Mm.
Truly be nice.
Mhm.
You know, like I gave them a rock and, you know, they don't care. No one's giving me a rock. You know, like who cares? Do something from your heart. Like compliments are the best. You know, who doesn't love a compliment?
That's true.
It's
They're my favorite.
easy. Like if you're at the grocery store, tell the clerk, you know, hey, I like your shirt. Although they all have the same shirts. Or you can say, your hair looks great today. Something personal that'll make them go, oh, you know. And
I like that one. And I think that's a great like self-therapy fear busting thing, because the few times I've felt compelled to give a stranger a compliment, it's just they're always, no matter how weird it feels to you to compliment a stranger or how weird it's felt to me, I've never gotten a bad response from someone. And it's like it does like fucking light their face up. And you're like, well, damn,
Yeah.
that didn't cost me anything. And now I feel just like a little bit braver.
right. And you know, like I don't like when people say, I bought the, you know, I did the send up the what is it called? Random acts of kindness.
Mm.
And then they put it out there and you tell people what you did. That doesn't matter. Like you're doing it to be kind. You're not, like I said, you're not doing it to get something back. And I don't like when people post when they do something nice because they're expecting people to go, that was so kind of you. You're so sweet. You know, that's not what I'm talking about. Just do compliments, be kind, and not expect anything in return.
So
Right.
call to action step, be kind, and just like feel it in your heart, your gut, your spirit, like feel it and just like let that feeling fill you that you did
Right.
something kind.
Give a compliment.
I'm
Give
painting a
compliment
rock.
every day. Paint a rock.
I'm painting a rock. I'm painting a rock. I'm leaving it. I don't care who gets it. And I think it's going to make someone very happy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Take a picture for me though.
I
I want to
am,
know what
I
you
am.
paint. Okay, cool.
Cool.
What is a charity you would like people to support with $1, $5, $50?
You know, I have to say the SPCA. It's
Yeah.
Sweet animal lovers.
Once again, it's a recurring theme, and we love it.
Yeah.
yeah. You know, we got our dogs from there and cats, and they were all lovely. Some are gone, some are still here. You know, it's great. They're awesome.
So
I
there you
love
go.
that.
So check out ASPCA nationwide, but do a search locally to support your local SPCA.
Yeah.
It's a quick
SPCA, your state. People
your-
know how to use phones. It's fine.
your city. Apparently people don't, because
okay.
I
Well, let's be kind.
I'm in fan groups. I see the most ridiculous questions daily, and I'm just like,
Let me Google that for you.
that's called Google. And so anyway, so if we have listeners and viewers that are not familiar with,
You know what? You're right. The
so
whole ethos of this show. Let's make space for different people.
yes, type
Cool.
in SPCA your city and state, and guess what?
Boom.
You will find the direction you need to go.
Yes.
Mhm.
So shoot them $5. Drop off a bag of dog food.
Yep.
So,
Or kitty litter.
kitty litter. So
There
it's
you go.
all appreciated. Or go adopt a pet.
And I'm gonna add an action step. This is like a platter that y'all can choose from. Bring up organ donation with a friend or family member.
Yeah.
And just see where the conversation leads you, because it's helping people like Roxy Scarmichael,
Yes.
Kelly. Johnny's an organ donor. I'm an organ donor. And I'll say too, if you for parents, older people like my parents, they're boomers. They've done they're donating their bodies to science when they
Mhm.
die.
That's
So the
good.
benefit for people is like my parents' organs and stuff will be used, or they will be cadavers in an anatomy lesson. Sorry, my family's really comfortable talking about death and corpses. I've realized that not all families are that comfortable, but the benefit for me and my brothers as children is once my parents die, we just call the phone number, and like everything's taken care of. It's gonna be so much cheaper than a funeral. It's gonna be so much cheaper, and we'll know that their bodies went to help. So my
Right.
action step is bring up organ donation or donating your body to science with a friend or loved one, and just see where the conversation takes you. I
Yeah.
will say it's something my family's doing,
Good. I like it.
and I'm an organ donor, so
Good for you.
Awesome.
thank you.
Kelly, how cool is this?
It's I was really nervous.
I know. Is all that nervousness gone?
Yeah, it's gone because I feel like I'm just talking to you and nobody else is listening. So that's
Well,
Sweet,
get-
we're so good at this.
I know.
Yes. Kelly said yes with less than 24 hours notice,
Yeah.
and while she was nervous. So thank you for being who you are and being a badass and saying yes, Kelly.
Oh, I'm really glad to meet you.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
too.
it's
Thank
nice.
you so much for this. I loved
Awesome.
hearing your stories.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
you.
So, well, I will be seeing Lex soon. I
Yes.
will give him kisses to give to you.
All right, and I'm giving kisses from him to give to you from me.
Oh, sweet.
There
It's
you
gonna
go.
get really weird.
Oh, whole kiss train. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Kelly.
Kelly.
I can't wait to see you in person.
Yes.
And I think it's gonna be sooner than later. What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe next summer.
I love it. I love
Good
it.
stuff.
Thank
Right.
you so much.
Thank you,
Everybody,
Kelly.
go do what you're supposed to do. Check out the show notes.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Yes.
and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.